We finally made it. We're in August, and man, it's hot out there. You know what else is heating up? The pennant races. And for the Cardinals, they face the Brewers in 3 must-win games to stay in the hunt. The disappointing results are next. Cards dropped 2 out of 3 to the Milwaukee Brewers. No sense of urgency on Monday night, as they lost 6-2. The only Cardinal runs were off a 2-run homer by Matt Holliday in the first. But the story here was Chris Carpenter. He allowed a balk in the second inning to Yuniesky Betancourt. From there, it wasn't if, but when Carp was going to unravel. And that wouldn't happen till the 5th inning. Betancourt and Casey McGee each singled to lead it off. Then, Jonathan Lucroy gets a hit that gets over David Freese's head to score the first run. Their pitcher, Zach Greinke, lays down a bunt next to catcher Yadier Molina. There was absolutely no reason why he couldn't make a play somewhere, but he didn't, and that loaded the bases, which led to a Corey Hart single to center that tied things up. Follow that with a double to Niger Morgan, which cleared the bases and gave them a 5-3 lead. Bad night for Carp nonetheless. And, for the record, 3 pitchers were used in this one. I'll explain more about that later. Now, the attempts to try to get back into this one. The Cards load the bases in the top of the 6th with 1 out. Skip Schumacher swings on a high pitch, which could have walked in a run. Anyhow, he clearly beats out the throw, but is still called out by first base umpire Jim Drake. The result? Yet another double play. Is it just me, or has the umpiring gotten progressively worse over the past few years? I'll talk more about that in a minute. Top of the 7th, the Cardinals have runners on the corners with 2 out. Want to get out of a jam? Throw the ball right at Albert Pujols. Make sure he flinches with the bat and the ball makes contact. If it stays fair, pick up the ball and tag him to get out of the inning. That's exactly how the 7th came to an end. Ryan Braun gets an RBI single in the bottom of the inning, and that's your game. Brings us to Tuesday night in an epic matchup. The Cardinals pull it out in 11 innings, 8-7. To start with, what's up with this guy? It seems Fox Sports Midwest was fixated on him throughout the entire game. As for the action itself, guess what? We're down 3-1 early. The only Cardinal run, off a home run by Matt Holliday. That would change in the 4th. Skip Schumacher grounds into a fielder's choice with 1 out, scoring Albert. Then, a couple of batters later, Daniel Descalso gets the RBI single to tie it all up, leading us to something you don't see like, say, ever. Jaime Garcia goes yard into the second deck in right field. First ever Major League homer, and a 3-run shot at that. He gives himself a comfortable 6-3 lead. That is, till the 5th, when Corey Hart gets on via a throwing error by Skippy. Couple batters later, with runners on first and second, Prince Fielder gets an RBI single. How does the error cost us? Well, Casey McGee struck out after that hit. If we got that first out, we'd be out of the inning. But Yuniesky Betancourt comes up, hits a 3-run homer, and we're now down once again 7-6. Then, we get to the 7th. Remember how Albert Pujols was almost hit on Monday night? Well, he got drilled in the wrist on this one. Takashi Saito hit him to load the bases. Follow that up with a Matt Holliday double play. Yeah, that's about right. The good news, there were no outs at the time, and Rafael Furcal scores to tie it back up at 7. Bottom of the 7th. You think there's going to be retaliation for going after the Mang twice in as many nights? My take. They hit your star player, or attempt to on more than one occasion. You have the right to brush up one of theirs. By that, I mean throw one close, knock him down, but not necessarily hit him. It's an unwritten rule in baseball. Throw one pitch at somebody, not hit him, sends the message loud and clear. However, it might get you ejected and suspended for 6 games, like what happened to Jared Weaver after not just giving up a pair of home runs, but being shown up at the same time, then hitting the next batter to retaliate. Well, in Tony La Russa fashion, he takes it a little far. Jason Mott comes on, making 2 attempts, and finally hits Ryan Braun in the side. Big mistake, in the sense of putting the potential go-ahead run on base in the late innings of the game with a lot riding on it. Mark Zipchinski comes on, and in typical Trevor Miller fashion, he walks Prince Fielder. Then, in typical Tony La Russa fashion, he pulls him for a right-hander. Lance Lynn comes in, gives up an infield hit to McGee to load the bases with no outs. Then, he comes up huge. He gets Betancourt to pop out. Then, Lucroy grounds into a fielder's choice. And finally, strikes out Mark Kotsay to end the inning. Crisis averted. The Cards load the bases once again in the 8th, except Furcal grounds into a fielder's choice. Then Ryan Theriot strikes out to end the threat. And you think Lynn would go back out there again? Of course not. La Russa goes with our closer Fernando Salas in a non-save situation where we're not even winning. He gets through the 8th, and now I start to get nervous. La Russa puts him back out there in the 9th. We all know what usually happens when Salas throws more than 1 inning, don't we? Well, Betancourt singles, and Lucroy walks with 2 out. Felipe Lopez hits a blue pop-up to left center field. Would have likely gotten the winning run home. But Rafael Furcal makes the catch of the year, bailing out Salas and getting us to extras. 10th inning. Remember how I mentioned how umpire Jim Drake blew a call at first base which killed a rally on Monday night? Well, he was behind the plate this time and wasn't giving the Cards any favorable calls. He calls a 3rd strike on Yadi, which was clearly inside. Molina then says something and he gets tossed. They must have totally pissed him off completely. He started bumping in and spitting in the face of the ump. Yeah, that pissed. Chances are he's going to be enjoying a nice lengthy vacation from the game, courtesy of Major League Baseball for sure. What's worse than a bad ump is one who allows his ego to take over. Yachty never gets this mad. You know something had to be up. Kyle McClellan gets to the 10th, something that never happens for the Cards, ever. In the 11th, Matt Holliday runs out a grounder, then steals a base to get into scoring position. Something else completely unheard of. Lance Berkman gets the RBI single to put us ahead. McClellan and Ottavio Dotel get us through the 11th unscathed, and we still have life. I know it's still early and all, but judging from the trade last week, I was totally wrong about Dotel. He's pitched in 5 games, 4.2 innings, only giving up a walk while striking out 5. Now only if the rest of the bullpen could do that. Anyhow, La Russa used 7 pitchers in this game, then threw a temper tantrum afterwards when someone asked him about the Albert situation and them retaliating against Braun. The worst part about it is the national media caught this, and it was clear he was lying about the motive behind it. Not to mention, he even went as far as calling the Brewers fans idiots. You'd think that World War III would break out on Wednesday. Not so. The intensity wasn't there, and the Cardinals dropped the ball in, losing 10-5. Casey McGee proved to be public enemy number 1. He goes 3 for 4. All 3 hits were home runs, accounting for 5 of the total runs they scored. Corey Hart also homered in the first to kick things off. He also ended up with a pair of RBIs. Yadier Molina, still waiting to hear from Major League Baseball about his possible suspension, was also responsible for a pair, letting a wild pitch get by him scoring Braun in the 5th, and committed a throwing error in the 6th to score George Gutierrez. One of the only positives in this game, Rafael Furcal. He hit the go-ahead 3-run homer in the 2nd, and got a sac fly to score another run in the 6th. You know how I was talking about how Tony La Russa doesn't know how, and in this case, has never used his bullpen effectively? he burned out all of his relievers, and Edwin Jackson, a lifetime sub-500 pitcher, is completely thrown under the bus for all 10 runs through the 7 innings he threw. And to think, we could have had Mark Burley, but no, John Mozeliak was the total idiot on that one. But somehow, we're still in this, only 3.5 games behind the Brewers, and we play them again next week, back home at Busch. So, with the hot topic being about Albert getting hit and Jason Mott exacting revenge, my question of the day is this: did the Cards go too far in hitting Braun? Let me know what you guys think. Submit your answers, comments, questions, responses, or anything else in the comment box below. Subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, and check out www.i70baseball.com. You know, I have on good authority that the decision is made. Albert Pujols will be taking his talents to South Beach, along with the rest of the Cardinals. Got you there, didn't I? Okay, I won't quit my day job. Anyhow, the Cardinals will open a 4-game series with the Marlins in Miami tonight, while the Brewers head to Houston. Needless to say, these are all must-win games in order to stay in it. Anyhow, enjoy the weekend, stay cool out there, and go Cards!